Hi everyone, my name is Mukesh. Today my group will be presenting about the topic power and politics. What is power? Power is a person's ability to control activities of other individuals. Power is a force that comes from on high and goes towards the bottom, from the strong to the weak. Powers also gives orders and instructions, takes no time to listen, deprives itself of the creativity of others except for the execution of orders. There are two important factors of power. First is influence, another one is dependency. For the influence, the person with power influence other people. For the dependency, the more people depend on you, the more power you have over them. The level of dependency is based on the alternatives available and the level of importance a person has. There is a few difference between power and leadership. We have taken few bases to compare what is power and what is leadership. First is for the definition. Power is the ability of an individual to exercise some form of control over another individual. On the other hand, leadership is the ability to create a vision, motivate people to work towards achieving the vision, coaching and building the team that will pioneer the completion of the vision and managing the end delivery of the vision. Second one is credibility. Credibility is needed in leadership but not a necessity in power. The third one is source. Power is derived from a position of authority. A leadership is a personal attribute. The fourth one is nature. Power is generally controlling and forceful in making followers follow commands. For the leadership involves inspiring the subordinates to complete tasks. The last one is dependence. Leadership requires power in order to be effective. However, power does not depend on leadership. One can have power but not be a leader. But all leaders require some form of power in order to successfully inspire subordinates.
Hi everyone, my name is Uma Ranjani. Today I'm going to present about the basis of power. So the basis of power, we have two types of basis power. One is formal power, another one is personal power. Formal power defined as based on an individual's position in an organization, while personal power is when a person's exercise power derived from their unique individual characteristic. There are four categories of formal power: coercive power, reward power, legitimate power, and information power, whereas two categories of personal power are expert power and referent power. Let's jump into the information power. Information power derived from access to and control over information. Information in an organization should be shared widely. If it is the kind of information that people would benefit from, then it should be shared extra widely and shouldn't hold on to it. For an example, a project manager may have all the kind of information for a specific project, and the project manager can't keep the information for too long, and eventually the information will be released. So the higher an individuals in an organization's hierarchy, the greater is the amount of information they can access. Next is reward power. Reward power derived from a person's ability to govern incentive allocation in an organization. Example of reward obviously include things like bonuses, pay increases, training opportunities, or even simply a public compliment like "you done a good job." That's a reward that people like and that has influence over employees because they want to work hard for rewards. For example, I still like a pat on the back if someone says I've done a good job. That's a reward for me. So if used well, this type of power can motivate employees. However, if misused, for an example, through favoritism, this type of power can demoralize employees and can reduce their output. Coercive power is the opposite of reward power. It derives from a person's ability to influence others using threats, punishments, or sanctions. This is the power to punish or potentially punish. For example, if an employee who consistently fails to meet the requirements of their role, they might lose their annual bonus, pay cuts, or termination. And the advantage of coercive power is to help control the employee's behavior by making sure they follow organizational policies and norms. The last category of formal power is legitimate power. It derived from a person's position in the organizational hierarchy. This is where you are hired, elected, or appointed to a particular position that comes with legitimate responsibilities. For an example, a frontline supervisor probably going to at some point make people schedule, so that's the legitimate responsibilities. A person with positional power is typically considered to have earned it legitimately. Moving to the personal power, we have expert power. It derives from knowledge and expertise in given domain. Furthermore, individuals with this type of power are valued for their problem-solving skills. For an example, the project manager who is an expert at solving particularly challenging problems to ensure the project stays on track. The last one is referent power. It derives from a person's interpersonal relationship with others in an organization. Let's say, for an example, a senior marketing assistant encourages and supports his sales team to achieve monthly sales target, so the team members will admire him for making everyone feel motivated. Political behavior is the thing that can be seen in everyday's organization. The definition of political behavior is activities that are not required as a part of one's formal role in the organization, but that influences or attempt to influence the distribution of advantages and disadvantages within the organization. The political behavior can be divided into legitimate and illegitimate political behavior. The legitimate political behavior is the organizational politics, are normal everyday politics that can happen in an organization, such as complaining, forming coalitions, and obstructing contact outside the organization. These are the comparatively small ones. Then we have illegitimate political behavior. These are extreme politics behavior and involve activities which violate the rule of the organization. Example like sabotaging, whistleblowing, or symbolic protest, or getting involved in strikes.
Good afternoon, madam and my fellow friends. So today I'm going to talk about factors that influence political behavior. So there are two factors, which is individual factors and organizational factors. So first I'll talk about individual factors. Individual factors involve high self-monitors, internal locus of control, high match personality, organizational investment, and perceived job alternative. As for high self-monitors, employees who are high self-monitor possess an internal locus of control and have a high need for power are more likely to engage in political behavior. As for the internal locus of control, individuals with an internal locus of control are more prone to take a proactive stance and attempt to manipulate situations in their favor. As for the high match personality, the Machiavellian personality is comfortable using politics as a means to further his or her self-interest. The next one will be organizational investment. The more that a person has invested and the more a person has to lose, the less likely he or she is to use illegitimate means. Perceived job alternatives. The more alternative job opportunities an individual has, a prominent reputation or influential contacts outside the organization, the more likely he or she will risk illegitimate political actions. So the last one will be expectation of success. A low expectation of success in using illegitimate means diminishes the probability of its use. Now let's move on to organizational factors. As for organizational factors, reallocation of resources. When the organizations downsize to improve efficiency, people may engage in political actions to safeguard what they have. The next one is low trust. The less trust there is within the organization, the higher the level of political behavior and the more likely it will be illegitimate. Role ambiguity. Role ambiguity means that the prescribed behaviors of the employee are not clear. There are fewer limits to the scope and functions of the employee's political actions. The greater the role ambiguity, the more one can engage in political activity with little chance of it being visible. So the last one will be high performance pressure. The more pressure that employees feel to perform well, the more likely they are to engage in politicking. If a person perceives that his or her entire career is on the line, there is motivation to do whatever is necessary to make sure the outcome is favorable. So the next one will be employee responses and the effect of organizational politics. Employees will respond differently as would depend on how each employee acts, either positively or negatively to the situation. As for the positive effects, it pushes the employee to work even more harder in order to achieve their own goals. As for the negative effects, employees tend to pay less attention to their work or task and spoil the ambience of a harmonious working environment. It will also demotivate employees who work solely following the rules and loss of trust. Let's move on to the conclusion. So the conclusion will be power and politics in organizations are common. In most cases, each concept is necessary and executed with skill and precision. Unfortunately, power can lead to conformity from those around us, and this occurring conformity can breed corruption. Methods for obtaining more power in an organization can often lead to political behaviors. As one person seeks to influence another to support an idea, politics begin to play out. So, it is often a good idea to analyze a social network and determine if it needs to be strengthened or tailored. So, thanks for listening to us, guys. And we would like to have a small quiz section, and we would like to request everyone to answer it in the chat box.